What is up, guys? Mike here, Dezaras Prime. Back with a video. Topic of discussion: best Transformers of 2018. I'm going to participate in this one because it's a lot easier to do 2018 than 2017. Because last year I went a bit nuts. Titans Return, you'll know how much I love that. So yeah, it would have been really hard to whittle down a top 10 last year. Even non-Titans Return, there was a few good things as well, like the Voyager Optimus Prime from the last night. Leader Megatron, Voyager Megatron. I like both Megatrons. Hound, step up from the last version, the Age of Extinction version. I didn't think that was possible, because Age of Extinction Hound is really good. So yeah, this year is a lot easier. I haven't really bought much. I've bought quite a bit, but I haven't bought that much because it hasn't really hooked me as much as Titans Return did. It's been really easy to resist a lot of the stuff that came out. So yeah, this is my top 10 with a few honourable mentions because it pretty much covers everything I bought, most of it. So yeah, I was gonna use a table, but the table's crammed. See, so I don't really have much room. So I'm gonna use got a bit of white card on a bedside cabinet. I'm just gonna stick them on there and do it that way. So let's get around to the honourable mentions first, and then we'll get down to the top 10. Okay, so honourable mention number 1 is a bunch of Insecticons. As toys, they're okay. They're quite fun little things to play with. I bought them off my mate Mike because, you know, doing a solid for a friend. But I've never really liked the Insecticons as characters, and that's why they don't make the top 10. I mean, there are better. They wouldn't have made the top 10 anyway, but they were never really under consideration because I'm not that big of an Insecticon fan. They just never really put out. They stand out, obviously, because they're bugs in a world of cars and guns and planes and shit, but they never really resonated with me in a way that some other characters did. Mention number 2, Studio Series Crowbar. I wanted him. He was towards the top of my list, to buy list for this year, actually, for the simple fact we got him when Dark of the Moon released. We got Crankcase, I believe, and the Cyberverse Hatchet, but we never got a crowbar until this year. So I wanted to complete my dreads, and so that's why he was up there on my list of must-haves this year. Just for the simple fact I wanted to complete my dreads. As a toy, he's robot mode's okay. I guess it's very berserker. So is the transformation, so is the vehicle mode. I tried it once and never bothered again. Which, yeah, is why he's not on the top 10, because I'd say his vehicle mode is terrible, but I can't even get it to vehicle mode. Last night, and sticking with honourable mentions, we have Nitro Zeus. Now, make no mistake about it, this guy is bang tidy. He's got a very good robot mode and a very good transformation into another very good vehicle mode. I'm not gonna lie though, I kind of forgot I had him. He was one of those sought after last night Voyagers, and he sat on my shelf and I was just like, oh yeah, Nitro Zeus. And another drawback to this figure is the paint scheme. I mean, there are nice little touches of bronze or bronze. A little bit of chrome on the that arm cannon there, but the rest of it black and a dull grey, and a touch up of paint, a better paint job on the grey, and he would probably be in my top 10, and I probably wouldn't have forgot that I owned him. Sorry, dude. Next up we have Combiner Wars Lio Kaiser, which 4 out of 5, 4/5 of this toy is really good. You've got Guy Hawk and you've got Hellbat, Fellbat. Drillhorn, and Iron Bison, better known in Victory as Kill Bison. I'm a big Victory fan. I fucking love that. It's like my favourite of the Takara shows and one of my favourite Transformer shows all around. Star Saber is my second favourite Transformer ever, so you'd think this would be in the top 10, but no, because they have the wrong torso. A couple of years back, my last Transformers review, like proper review, was Combiner Wars Defensor, suggested by Chris Gaunt, and I was planning on following it up with other Combiner Wars reviews, but that kind of took a backseat to everything else. I'm thinking of reviewing this guy next, and it's gonna be a bit of an opinionated piece, let's just say that. Final honourable mentions go to Dreadwind and Blackwing from Power of the Primes. Again, like the Insecticons, I was never really a fan of these characters in Master Force. Or I wasn't really familiar with the Western version, because as with most of the Master Force characters, I'm more familiar with those particular versions over the Western ones, funnily enough. Yeah, they're good toys, don't get me wrong. They're fucking nice fucking figures. But it's just the characters never really resonated with me. And I mean, there was the whole thing about, you know, they wanted to shed their humanity, and the Autobots were all about merging humanity with fucking Cybertronian technology and stuff. It was just I preferred Overlord, and I guess as Overlord's bitches, they were fine, but you know, the character, again, they never really fucking resonated with me, not in the way that the Headmaster Juniors on the Decepticon side, or even Cloud. What was his name? Clouder. Double Clouder. Yeah, even he fucking, and you know, he should have got a fucking slap in the face after he blew the base up, and then said, "Oh, I want to join the Autobots." Yeah, I've just knocked your house down, but come with my mates now. Fuck off. But even he resonated more than these two. I think it's because they were a bit bland and submissive. There was none of that internal conflict that the other guys had. So it's not just about, I can't judge this solely on the quality of the toys, because they might just crack the top 10 if they did, but it's got to be about, for me, how I perceive the characters as well. And you know, they are very good toys of, in my opinion, not great characters. Okay, so those were my honourable mentions. Like I said on a couple of them, it isn't just based on the quality of the toy itself when I come to ranking these, because the characters, they do tend to, they influence whether I want the toy or not. The Insecticons, I only bought them because Mike was offloading them cheap. I wouldn't have gone out and looked for the Insecticons otherwise. Dreadwind and Darkwing, they were decent enough figures. I just saw them when I was out. I was out shopping, they were there. I was like, yeah, why not? That's why I got them. Their Master Force characters, again, they don't really click with me that well. But, you know, as toys, they're fine, but I'd have probably been more compelled to go out and buy them and look for them if I had an interest in their characters. Now, I will say, I only bought Dreadwind in the shop. I actually ordered Blackwing off Kapow when I ordered the last two Dinobots. But that's the completionist in me. Fuck off. Card fell down. That's me. It's why I didn't buy Power of the Prime Starscream, because there's no Thundercracker or Skywarp versions of that mold. So yeah, I got Blackwing online. I actually looked for him, waited till it was available, just so I could have the partner to Dreadwing. But other than that, I couldn't put them in the top 10, which we're getting to next. Okay, so in at number 10 we have Power of the Primes Deluxe Jazz. I love this figure. There's a certain charm to it, and it evokes everything about the character, really. I've always liked the Jazz character, movie and G1, and Even the RID version, 2015 RID version of Jazz, I hated that he didn't have the visor, that he had eyes. That just screamed wrong to me. But this one hits all the right beats for me. Great vehicle mode, great robot mode, and he even turns into a fucking limb. And that's something I want to touch on, and it's something I'll get to with number 9 as well, really, because Combiner Wars was great. Most of the figures there were really good, I loved them, but you could tell they were combiners. They're obviously built to be combiners, and that's the same with the models and stuff. The G1 toys, and in animation you could tell that they were built to be combiners. But then they go and make characters that aren't traditionally built to be combiners, like, at least in Power of the Primes, Jazz, Darkwing, Dreadwind and Blackwing. Fucking what's with the name licensing? Even those were, they have limb modes, and they have good limb modes as well. It's something to praise Hasbro and Takara for, or whoever actually engineered these, to take characters that aren't combiners and make them into combiners without making it abundantly obvious that they are combiners. Because if you look at someone like Prowl or Ironhide or Sunstreaker Mirage, they all have the same traits, but they scream combiner when you look at their robot form. And Jazz doesn't, because his combiner port is hidden pretty damn well. I mean, there's the obvious gap there where you can see the limb port, but there's also the chest piece that goes over and a little bit underneath that tabs in. The combiner port is hidden really well in this figure, and with the other ones for the most part as well. And that's what I like about this. It's that they took a figure that wasn't supposed to be a combiner and they made him a combiner in a more successful way than they did the likes of Prowl, Sunstreaker, Ironhide, Hound, Smokescreen. All those ones from Combiner Wars that weren't supposed to be combiners, but they looked like they were combiner limbs, or they had combination ports within them. And Jazz doesn't, and that's one of the things I really like about this. And again, I'll touch on that when I get to number 9. Speaking of number 9, and this is a cheat, and I'll explain why it's a cheat, but it is the Power of the Primes Dinobots. Yeah, all of them, except Slash. I don't have Slash. I'll explain why they're all lumped in to the same ranking, because Grimlock aside, none is better or worse than the other. Grimlock has a bit of a stumpy dino mode, which can look a bit... I'll say it's not the best Grimlock dinosaur mode we've got. His robot mode's perfectly fine. I have no issues with his robot mode, except for maybe he does have a bit... His legs are a bit off, but for the most part, he retains that G1 aesthetic really well. And that's what I like about these figures. Quickly touch on Snarl and Slag. Their combination ports are a little bit more obvious there, especially Snarl. Slag's is hidden by his Triceratops jaw. Swoop and Slug, can't really see them. But what I love about these is they make no attempt to hide that fucking G1 kibble. You've got Slag or Slug. I'll call him Slag. I'm English and I don't give a fuck. Who's still got that Triceratops mouth hanging over his head. Now, we live in an age where Hasbro could easily have found a way to fold that back and hide it better. They could have done the same thing with Slug's back panels that look really egregious. But they didn't. They were just like, fuck it, that's how they looked in the 80s, that's how they're going to look today. And that's what I love about these. Swoop, his pterodactyl head doesn't stick up as well when he's in pterodactyl mode. But these are all still, that's what I love about these. They make no attempt to hide the the kibble. They embrace the kibble. And that's what I love about these. It's cheeky and it's charming and they're still articulate. I mean, fucking Slag still even has... It's very limited by his Triceratops head, but his head is articulate in there. If you've got really small fingers. But yeah, that's what I love about these Power of the Primes Dinobots. That's not a very good far shot, is it? Oh, that's better. But yeah, even so. Let's move on to number 8, shall we? And we have Power of the Primes, Rodimus Prime. Now, there's a lot to like about this figure, and it goes back to the Insecticons and Dreadwind and Blackwing as to why he doesn't rank higher. I mean, I believe the toys above him are better, with the exception of maybe number 7, but 7's for different reasons. But I was never really that much of a Rodimus Prime fan. I didn't like that Optimus Prime died, but when he handed the Matrix over to Ultra Magnus, I was fine with that. I really like the Ultra Magnus character. See, I have this thing on my channel called Transformers the Soap, and I've taken characters and been able to put my own spin on those. And in the process, I have a habit of developing a fondness or an increased fondness for the actual characters. One of those was Ultra Magnus, so that's my preference for Magnus might be due to what I've done with that character personally, but I just felt Magnus was the better leader. He turned into a vehicle carrier, not a caravan. And it's just, I never really clicked with Rodimus Prime. As Hot Roddy was fine, but as Rodimus Prime, he didn't really do anything for me. Now, the toy itself is really good. There's that shoulder leg issue there that is only really an issue if you look at it hard enough or from a particular angle. He has a nice head sculpt and he generally, overall, is a great toy. His vehicle mode is a success. His hot rod mode isn't as good as I would say Titan's Return or even the classics Reveal the Shield hot rod molds, but they had to fit it into this, so it's good enough for what it is. And yeah, that's Power of the Primes, Rodimus Prime. He's a very good toy of, yet again, another character that I didn't really click with very well. Number 7, we have Studio Series Leader Class Blackout. And this is mainly because he's one of those that I wanted really bad, because I have the 07 Voyager Blackout, and as good as that toy is, he is way too small. The 07 Voyager is... he barely fucking clocks in at a Voyager when he's in his robot mode. And that was a damn shame. And for years, I, along with a bunch of other people, were always thinking Blackout should be a leader class. And now we finally have a leader class Blackout. Now, I did mention before in the Rodimus part where I said that I feel all the other toys are better with the exception of maybe one. This might be that one exception, because his robot mode is great. He looks big and imposing and intimidating and out of focus there. Come on, bitch. Come on, bitch. Fuck off. Hang on while I focus this bastard. I'm about to cut this. There we are. Yeah, he looks big, intimidating, imposing, and he looks really, really good, except for those hands, those weird little gammy T-Rex claw things that he's got going on. And his vehicle mode isn't the best either. I would say the one advantage that the 07 Blackout has over this is the vehicle mode is a lot more better. It connects together really well. There's no fucking gaping holes underneath. The Voyager Blackout is as a helicopter is very compact and very well put together. This has gaps all underneath and stuff, and it's like they forgot to put the bottom on him. But as a robot mode and as a leader class, he looks brilliant, and that's why he ranks at number 7, because he has his issues with the vehicle mode. I can't put him any higher, even though I wanted. This was one of those up the top of my must-have list. So yeah, number 7, Studio Series Blackout. In at number 6, we have Power of the Prime's Leader Class Optimus Prime. And I fucking love this figure. It hits all the right notes for me. And except for the truck mode, which is probably why it ranks down so not as high on this list. Now, I believe the rule for this is when it comes to top 10, your favourites of 2018, it's the ones you bought, not the ones that were released that you bought. So there are better figures above that may not have been released this year. But, I mean, this is just, from the front, it's sublime. It's, people say, almost MP10 levels of quality, and they're not far off, really. Get to the side, it starts to fall apart a little bit, and the back. But again, it's like, the reason they have those issues is because it is the Power Master. The trailer becomes the larger body, the smaller robot, and the cab becomes Orion Pax, and it all folds together to form this. And I think they did an amazing job doing this and pulling it off. And yeah, so all the grey, is there for the fucking trailer parts and that. And the legs, where are you going to put them? Really? The amount of sculpting in Orion Pax, I mean, they could have maybe... The Orion Pax looks great. The truck, I feel, could have been done better. But as an overall package, it's well worth the money, and it was one of those that I really wanted to get, and I did, and I love it. So at number 6, Power of the Prime's Leader Class Optimus Prime. Okay, so we're down to the top 5 now, and in at number 5, Power of the Prime's Nemesis Prime. Now, there is a bit of a cheat going on later, where I put 2 together. With this, I kept them separate for the simple fact, as a vehicle mode, Nemesis Prime, and even in all modes, Nemesis Prime pulls it off a lot better than Optimus Prime, and that is simply due to the fact that he is mainly black. Now, if you look at the arms, for example, as I showed the grey sides on Optimus Prime a minute ago, it's all black. It's all black there. Stand up, bitch. It's all black there. And because I don't call him Nemesis Pax, I call him Onion Pax, so, because stuffing. But even that black backpack tends to blend in better with the rest of it. He also has a different head sculpt. Show the face. There we are. He has a different head sculpt, which looks more... It has a more Decepticon vibe to it. I don't know if I like it more than Optimus's, because I like the traditional look of Optimus's face and his head sculpt, but I'm not going to take points away for that. His colour scheme is on point. The black really helps. He even has those Armada-esque cannons that really add to the badassery of this figure, as well as the Dark Saber, I believe it is, and a sword that turns into a pterodactyl. All in all, this figure is really good. I really enjoy this toy. Probably more so than the Optimus Prime because it just looks so much more badass in all forms, vehicle, robot, and smaller robot. And he has the accessories are better as well. He has a fuck ton more accessories, even as the gun on his back still there that blends in with the legs. All in all, it's the same toy with a minor retooling of the heads, but it's a tidier package. It blends together a lot better than Optimus Prime, and I think Optimus Prime's fantastic. But yeah, so number 5, Power of the Prime's Nemesis Prime, and he's not easy to come by, so rarity plays a factor into it as well. In at number 4, Masterpiece Ironhide. And honestly, what's not to fucking love? I'd wanted this for a while, and then it popped up on Kapow at like 69 quid or something like that, and I was like, yep, fucking here's my money, give me Ironhide. And I love Ironhide as a character, and I even enjoyed the movie Ironhide figures. I still adore the '07 Voyager and the Revengi repaint. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't think they're bad. I think they get a bad rap. I don't think they're as bad as people say they are. The Dark of the Moon one, again, I like that version. I've got the red one as well. I've got the leader class. I haven't picked up the Studio Series or the movie Masterpiece because I've got enough Ironhides now. But this was the one that I wanted to, just wrap things up in a neat little bow. I haven't transformed him back to Van since I transformed into Robot because I've heard it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but fuck me, transforming him from Van to Robot was a fucking delight. It was mesmerizing. I was just looking at the instructions that are in Japanese because it's Takara, looking at the pictures, and I'm just like dumbfounded at the fucking genius of it. It was just, it's like, how did that little Van become this? And he isn't a small figure. He is just shy of MP10. He is, I'd say, around about that ultra class that we used to have. He's taller than a Voyager, shorter than a Leader. And he's got like a fuck ton of accessories that I haven't played with yet. It's just, I can't put into words how fucking much I love this figure. And he's number 4. There are 3, technically 4 others that I ranked higher. And to put those above, it speaks to the quality of this. If I was going on engineering alone, this probably would be number 2. One thing I don't like is it seemed a little bit plain, but it's show accurate. But I would have liked if there was like some panel lines and stuff, just some decoration on the lower legs. Other than that, yeah, this just ticks all the boxes for me. And at number 4, MP Ironhide. Can't remember the number, sorry. Okay, so in at number 3 is Power of the Prime's Deluxe Class Punch/Counterpunch. The character of Punch fascinates me. It really does. It's also a little bit bollocks, isn't it? Because I love the idea of a Decepticon Autobot, or an Autobot that goes undercover as a spy in the Decepticon ranks, and the psychological problems that could arise from that situation. But at the same time, all he does is fucking turn around. And it's... I'd just love to do a fucking character study on this. I do plan on carrying on Transformers the soap, and I'd love to do a little story about... planning on doing a little story about Punch. Because there's just so much there. And it's the comedy, it's ripe for picking. But also there's the whole, like I said, there's a whole mental challenge of infiltrating Decepticons and, trying to figure out who you really are and the challenges of identity and stuff like that. Punch is fucking fascinating to me, because it's just so intriguing and mysterious, yet also so fucking stupid at the same time. It's... Okay, let's talk about the toy. Toy's great. I love the fucking toy. Hands flip around for fucking counter punch. You turn them around and you've pretty much got... Well, it's a bit more intricate than that. But I'll do a review on it properly at some point. But they fucking knocked it out of the park with this one. Because it's never going to be easy to make a punch figure. A successful punch figure. So I was just trying to get back in focus. With the exception of Universe Sunstreaker Sideswipe, when they did that as an exclusive, that works as punch. But this is just, it's something else. I'm amazed they managed to pull it off so well. Because, yeah, you look at it from the front. It's one of those that you have to look at from the front. Otherwise it becomes glaringly obvious what's going on. But even the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode is a success, especially if you plug the gun in at the right place, because the underside, it's like the complete opposite of Studio Series Blackout. There's fuck all to see there. It's all really well hidden and really well put together. Some little bits of engineering, like I mentioned, the hands they flip out just to make it a little bit different. You flip the shoulders around. You've got the you put that down when it's a Decepticon just to hide the Autobot symbol. The visor, the helmet part, up and down. It's down for the counterpunch side. I'll show you that quickly. There you've got Counterpunch's face with his red eyes, and then you want Punch, you just flip that down backwards, and then you've got Punch. It's just little things like that. So many of those scattered throughout this figure. This was one of the ones that I was like, I'm never going to own that, because it was, I believe, an Amazon exclusive, and I was there thinking I'm never going to get that. I really want a punch figure, and that punch figure looks bang on, but I don't think I'll ever own it. And then Simon was like, oh, I've ordered 3, who wants one? And I was like, me, I want one. Because of exclusivity, the engineering, successful engineering, and the just the character in general is why Punch is number 3 on my top 10 of 2018. He also comes with a little Prime Master, Primer Prime. I've been meaning to pick up the Prime Masters for a while now. This is my first one. Still haven't got around to the rest of them. But yeah, he's alright, isn't he? Or silver and translucent minty green. Yeah. I'd eat him if I need to freshen my breath. Number 3. Power of the Prime's Punch, Counterpunch. Okay, so number 2 is where I cheated, because I've put both MP10 and MP10B, Nemesis Prime, Optimus Prime, together. Now the reason I kept these together when I split up Power of the Prime's Optimus and Nemesis is because, paint job aside, there isn't really much different. They both look absolutely fucking stunning. Unlike the Optimus and the Nemesis, I can't pick a favourite between the two, because MP10 doesn't have the drawbacks that Power of the Prime obviously does, probably because, higher price point masterpiece. But it's... and this is the Takara MP10 as well, with a darker blue colour scheme, which I actually prefer over the Hasbro one. I couldn't split these apart. I couldn't separate them into different ranks, unlike the Power of the Primes versions, because Nemesis was superior to Optimus in that. But in this, I'd probably say Optimus is superior because he has the trailer. But, trailer aside, there's really nothing to tell them, nothing that makes one better than the other. They both look badass as fuck. They both look fucking beautiful. And I saw the Optimus Prime in Leicester Vintage Toy Store, and it was a bit of a thing to get him, but I don't regret it. And then I was like, well, I've got Optimus, and last year I got the Shattered Glass Optimus, and I was like, well, I want Nemesis. I want to get Nemesis. I'm going to get MP10B as well. And yeah, so I did. And I just fucking... I mean, the engineering on these is just sublime. It is... I don't want to say an art form, but when I transform these, I feel like I'm doing something special, if that makes sense. I get... it's not like transforming Revenge of the Fallen Prime, which is a complex and fun transformation, yet fucking terrifying at the same time. These, I kind of feel like I'm contributing to society, is probably the best way I could put it. There's just something about transforming these figures, and, it's simple enough, back and forth, robot to vehicle, vehicle to robot, and these are the main reason MP Ironhide ranks in at 4. Because I put Punch ahead because of exclusivity, although Ironhide is a Takara exclusive. I believe Punch would be harder to get than Ironhide. But these boys, there's just what's not to love. I like big Transformers, but I prefer these over the MP1. Because the MP1 is heavy, and he's a little bit frightening, to be honest. I mean, if he falls off my shelf, fuck me. The weight of that thing would probably shatter it on impact. And this new MP, OP, fucking 3.0, whatever they're calling it, don't care for it. Because I got this. And it's one of those where you can't top it. I don't believe it can be. And I've looked at the pictures of the new Optimus Prime, and I'm not a fan for numerous reasons. One of them being that it just isn't better than this. It isn't. I don't think it can be better than this. It's the same problem they suffered with the movie Optimus Prime figures after Revenge of the Fallen. It couldn't get any better than the Revenge of the Fallen leader. It just couldn't, in terms of screen accuracy and all that jazz. I mean, maybe movie masterpiece, but how long was that? 10 years? The Dark of the Moon one sure as hell didn't pull it off. Age of Extinction, no. Voyager, yeah, but the leader, no. So that's the kind of problem they're facing now. And, with the masterpieces, it's the same as the movie ones. Second time, the sequel, Toy, was the best and has been the hardest to beat thus far. 07 Leader Prime was okay. Revenge Leader Prime was spot on. Same with the masterpieces. The MP1, great toy, but the MP10 just eclipses it. It just, in every way, in my opinion, I fucking love these guys so much. But they're not the number one. So let's see who is number one. My favourite, my best Transformers purchase of 2018. Titans Return, Titan Class. Oh, not even Titans Return, sorry. Takara Legends, LG, Titan Class, Grand Maximus. This, more than any of the others, more than Punch, more than MP Ironhide, more than MP10, I had to have. And I got it. And yes, it is just a repaint, a minor retool of Titans Return Fortress Maximus, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I just can't describe how I feel about having this figure. I guess if I was going to start somewhere, I'd probably start with his big brother, or big brother in the older brother sense, Fortress Maximus. This was a figure that I never thought I'd own. It was one of those that I really wanted, but I never once thought I'd own. Pretty much like Star Saber. Never thought I'd have these two. Then MP Star Saber came along, and I got a great deal on that. That was my shut up and take my money for that year. I believe 2014, was it 13? It might have been 2014 actually. But Fortress was 2016's for me. Yeah, it would have been 2017. Last year. Yeah, it probably would have been. No. Tripticon was a Titan last year, 2016. It was one of those things I never thought I'd own because of the rarity of it. The G1 Fort Max, that was the only one going at the time. Other than Brave Maximus, both were ludicrously expensive. And then Titan's Return came along and we had a Fortress Maximus. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, I want grand now. Because I'm a Master Force fan. I take the Takara trilogy as my canon over the Rebirth. So Fortress, that's why I got the Master Sword for Fortress Maximus as well. It is the Hasbro version with Spike and Cerebros, but it was like, I want grand. Because in the US, Fortress doesn't have a brother, in Japan he does, and I was like, I wish I could have Grand Maximus as well. And there was all like, I was looking at different exclusive versions of Fortress Maximus that I could get to pass off as Grand Maximus. And then I found out this guy was fucking on his way, and there was this whole thing about, we'll only do it if we get so many pre-orders or something like that. And I was like, do it, fucking do it. And they hit the pre-order number requirement. Not enough for the Pretender shell, but that wasn't an issue for me. And then I pre-ordered straight away, paid it off, and the week it was due for release, I was fucking messaging Kapow. I was like, not to nag or anything, but when is it coming? Because I just wanted this so badly. And I honestly don't know why, because he didn't do much in Master Force. I just think it's like, I like families. I'm a big family man. And I've got 2 brothers, 3 sisters, fuck ton, at least a dozen nieces and nephews, and obviously my son. And I like the idea of families, especially within Transformers. You know, you've got Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, your Skywarp, Thundercracker, Fortress and Grand Maximus, even Buster and Hydra, Dreadwind and Darkwing. I just like the idea of there being families, and if I pick up one, I'm kind of like, well, let's bring your brother in to play. And it's just, I also really like this figure as well. The Fortress version, Metroplex, I love that one. Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap this up because my phone is about to die. But yeah, honestly can't describe why I love this figure so much and why I wanted it so much. I like the Titans. I do love the Titans. When Metroplex came out, I was thinking, well, let's do the Necro Titan. Let's do the Metra Titan. Let's do all these other ones. And they did all the other ones in a manner of speaking. We got Fortress and Grand Maximus. And that is my number 1 figure of 2018. So yeah, Grand Maximus, my number 1 toy of 2018. For reasons I can't quite describe. It's one of those odd scenarios where you can't quite figure out why you like something so much or why you dislike something so much. It's just, it's a mystery. And yeah, he's number 1 because he was one of my most sought afters after Fortress. I've got Fortress because Fortress was both sides of the pond, US and East and West. But Grand wasn't. Grand was Japanese exclusive, so I never, for the life of me, thought I would own a Grand Maximus, just like Star Saber. And I do. And I think that's one of the main factors is the rarity, not just the family element, because I do like family, but the rarity of it as well, and the fact that, my chances of owning this figure were very slim. So yeah, I think that explains it enough. I don't know. I'm going to wrap it up because my battery is dying on my phone, and I'm going to get this edited and uploaded. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want. Don't have to. I'm not going to force you. Anyway, this has been Mike, Dezaras Prime. I do want to do that Lyo Kaiser review. But until then, I shall sign... Oh, I've forgotten how to sign off now. You shall see me next time.